that was a big year of growth in my life from, that injury that devastated me. I had never really missed a game competing in any sport, and I had a whole season taken away from me. So that was really hard for me.
Part of what I want to be able to do with Timeout, having conversations like these, is to destigmatize the conversation around mental health in sports. Make it less taboo, because sometimes you're just not feeling it. Sometimes you might not feel like you're at the full mental capability that you could be at. Welcome to the first episode of Timeout. I'm Hunter Patterson, your host, alongside Kuony Deng, who has had a very interesting journey to get to this point where he's at now. But he is, in fact, the man on the Cal defense right now. So things started for you at John Camp High School, where you were playing football, you were hooping, all state, conference player of the year, and you were also doing high jump. That was something you peaked at like 6'10", right?
Something like that.
Bet. So what was the deciding factor in you wanting to get into football and solely football?
I think football was just kind of, my first love as an athlete. Growing up, Randy Moss was like kind of one of the first athletes I ever looked up to.
Right.
I have 4 brothers, and I got all type of cousins, so we used to just play football in the backyard from when I was 3, 4 years old. So I think football was kind of just that first love, the sport I had the most love for. And even though I was probably having a little bit more success playing basketball, running track, I think I always understood that potential to be the football player that I wanted to be and take that sport the furthest out of any other sport. I kind of always understood that was there, so I just trusted it.
And so from John Camp, you ended up going to Virginia Military Institute, where you were able to hoop, play football, and you were a military cadet. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that was, just a good experience of growth in my life. VMI, that was my only Division I offer to play football. So I had the ability to play football and basketball there. My brother was in the military. He served in the Army, was in Special Forces. My sister-in-law served. And so that was something that, I had a little bit of interest in. It was a good school, and I could play Division I football, on a full scholarship.
Right.
Biggest thing was just trying to figure out how to get school paid for. So I think there, I just got a lot of that experience, a lot of that leadership training. And, I had kind of a complicated experience there just in general, but, I grew a lot from it.
And so you were in your sophomore season, and you had a pretty much season-ending season-ending injury. And for you decided to bet on yourself and ended up transferring to Independence Community College. And in 1 year, you ended up being the number 1 linebacker in the country for JC. So what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was crazy. That was a big year of growth in my life from, that injury that devastated me. I had never really missed a game from when I was 8 years old in any sport, competing in any sport, and I had a whole season taken away from me. So that was really hard for me, with the knee injury. But, it allowed me to get that red shirt, and I always understood I was starting to really work into my potential as a football player. So I understood, I was like, okay, I'm getting a medical red shirt. This isn't really where I want to be. I can go play at a higher level. So, I kind of had to take that community college route. I wasn't getting interest from the bigger schools. And, I talked to Coach Brown at Indy, talked to Coach Martin, the defensive coordinator. And the conversation I had with Coach Martin was he just told me, if you just lead by example, work hard, and be yourself every single day, then you'll be able to go wherever you want in the country. And I just really trusted that. And by the end of it, it had to be true.
And so you ended up going from no stars in high school coming out of John Camp to now being the number 1 linebacker at the junior college level. And that means you had offers from LSU, Texas Tech, the entire Pac-12 pretty much. So what ended up selling you here on Cal?
Cal just kind of checked every single box I was looking for. I was a little bit older at that point, resetting my recruitment. So, I had a little bit of life experience, and I kind of knew the things that were important to me. So, being able to be at the #1 public university in the world, being able to be here in Berkeley, in the East Bay, in the Bay Area, and all the history that comes with that. Um, and also just being able to play here at Cal. They had one of the best defenses in the country. The linebackers were making plays, like nation-leading type plays, and I felt like if I could play for these coaches, then maybe I'll be able to do some big things too. And also having family in the area. My brother stays in East Palo Alto. With my 2 nieces and my nephew, and being able to be around them, as much as I want, that was also something that was really important to me.
So you get here, you have a great first season. The team has a really good season as well. And you're looking forward to being the guy on defense this year. And then coronavirus hits, and you all are not able to really continue things as you would normally, right? So what was that process like, getting acclimated to the team, the new recruits, um, and everything that involves a new season under COVID?
Yeah, so it was just different. That's the best way to put it. It was just different from anything any of us have ever experienced. We never lived in a pandemic. So obviously we couldn't come to the facility anymore for the longest time. A lot of people went home. The freshmen, they weren't able to come here on time, be around us, have that summer training the same way that it has been in the past. So we kind of had to just all figure it out on the fly. So, eventually we got to come back in June, start having socially distant workouts, start getting to meet some of these new guys who, didn't get to know us until then, and continue to put in the work, continue to meet with coaches on Zoom, continue to watch film, um, and just trusting that eventually, not knowing we're gonna play, even if we're gonna play this year, but just trusting that the work that you're putting in is gonna pay off on the back end, and you always receive back pay, and just understanding that this work is gonna materialize in some type of way.
Right. So what's it like being a leader on this field and getting to be in the meeting rooms, being on campus, versus having to be a leader in the Zoom meetings and group chats and things like that?
I mean, it's different, man. I mean, I didn't physically, because we brought 3 new freshman linebackers into my room. I didn't physically get to meet them until were supposed to have been here for 4 months. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's tough to be able to support those guys and not physically being able to be around them. Like, they never met me in person. So I think once we all finally got to be around each other and I really got to start to get to know these guys, that was really helpful. Through the Zoom, it's just keeping the group chat, trying to keep the energy in the group chat going, trying to support people however you can, getting gamer tags, playing the game together, just trying to get to know people any way that you possibly can. And staying tapped in with the guys who you've already done it with at the same time. Making sure everybody's doing well through this tough time, and understanding that eventually at some point we'll play football again together. We just don't know when it's going to be. And it all worked out, and we're able to have a season late this fall, and everything that we've been working towards is finally starting to come to us.
Cool. So then for this last chunk, you wanna head back?
Yeah.
Bet. So for you now, there is at least some sort of plan for you all to be playing in late fall, like you mentioned. What are you looking to do um, individually and as a team in this upcoming season? That is all out of whack and not necessarily something that's conventional.
Yeah, so I think out here around Berkeley and just in the area, I think the expectations around Cal football have gone up. We've raised the standard. We've gone back to winning bowl games, having winning seasons. And I think now it's trying to just take that next step.
Right.
Trying to compete for a Pac-12 championship. That's kind of where we are as a program. That's where we want to be. Individually for me, it's not really about chasing numbers, trying to be hit certain marks or get certain accolades. I think it's more so just trying to leave some type of lasting memory in terms of impacting people. It's not necessarily always what you do or people remembering what you did, but it's how you made them feel. So just trying to lead in that type of way, trying to care about everybody in the building, my teammates, coaches, and support staff, and just, being able to create lasting memories, with this being my alma mater one day, somewhere
Right.
I'll always be able to come back. Just creating that memory of, this guy was a leader for us. He helped, take us to heights that we hadn't been to in a while. I think if that's the lasting memory of who I was while I was here, then, no individual accolade or no numbers or anything like that, any records will ever be able to touch that.
I like that. So another thing too is the fact that mental health is starting to be at the forefront of a lot of conversations, especially in sports.
Yeah.
How are the conversations around mental health in this university in general, but specifically in the locker room for you all?
I mean, it's cool being, in one of the most progressive places in the world, being here in Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
And just the current times that we're in, I think, even though I'm a football player and we play a masculine sport, I think we're able to have those conversations. And we're just continuing to grow in those type of ways. So um, I think it's just understanding that, we're not always all well. You know what I mean? And we want to be well and just trying to work towards that. We've all been through tough times. We all constantly go through tough times, but, if you can understand that there's people that care about you, um, you know what I'm saying, that these times shall pass and that, you're not in this alone. I think that it's just a good reminder to keep going. Like, I've been through my tough times and all the guys I care about, we've had those moments of, having to cry on each other's shoulders, having to be there for each other. Whatever happens, something with family, just personal pressures, anxiety. Being able to be on a team, that's a blessing because you just got people who are in it with you every single day.
Right.
We grind together every single day. So, it's good being able to have that support system.
And you and I have talked about it. Excuse me. Even like me dealing with depression and anxiety, um, you have to find ways to talk about it, just maintain your mental health. And so, what's one of the things that you do for your forms of self care?
I think for me, it's been big just getting into stretching, uh, praying, meditation, uh, just trying to step away for a little bit, the things that, might make me anxious or, make me feel pressure, or, anything like that. And just, stepping away, just being present in whatever moment I'm in, talking to God, talking to my family, being around my nieces, being around my nephew.
Right.
Those are the things that, kind of bring me back to life. Bring me back to my kind of like my equilibrium and, allow me to keep going.
Perfect. Um, Again, I want to thank you for being as vulnerable as you have been throughout this entire process, um, for opening, I'm sure, a lot of people's eyes to what it means to be present and what it means to maintain mental health at a really, really high level. So, appreciate you for that.
No doubt. Appreciate you.
Slick.
It's a wrap.